Banks win when you pass away and don't have your affairs in order. There's literally a profit margin for banks when you pass away and you don't have things organized. I want to go over in this video why it is so important to make sure that you have everything planned and laid out when it comes to your hard-earned money that you're leaving on deposit in the bank. We're going to cover a very underground topic that's helping banks make millions upon millions a year because most of us are completely asleep at the wheel when it comes to banking policies and proper procedures on our end when we pass away and the money that's in our bank accounts. So, in order to give you context on this video, I'm going to give you a breakdown and a little insight on how big this problem really is. But most importantly for you to know, you're getting this context from a veteran relationship banker and small business banker, 14 plus years in banking and financial services. And I currently manage a client portfolio of $25 million, give or take, in client relationships at the time of this recording. I'm JP, the founder and architect of the channel. The goal is to help you optimize your money, maximize your relationship banking, and help you increase your net worth so you can have a better quality of life. Now, that having been said, I want to share my screen really quickly to give you a little insight on just how significant this issue is. Now, mind you, I want to be completely fair. This is total unclaimed property on the state level across the country. I want to be fair on what seems to be the annual basis. But a significant portion of this is forgotten bank accounts. I know this firsthand because I literally see it for consumer and small business relationships on a day-to-day basis by the tune of sometimes 6 to 7 figures per month. I run across client relationships where accounts are dormant, unclaimed, etc. People have passed away, all kind of things going on. They're hospitalized, disabled, whatever. Things have changed. And there's a ton of money sitting on the deposit that other people in the family or loved ones know nothing about, and that person's no longer around or functional and able to attend to. And that leaves a huge opportunity for banks and a huge deficit and loss for your loved ones. So we need to put some concept or at least some context around this so you can have an understanding of how you need to navigate this. I'm going to stop sharing my screens. I just want to give you all a quick idea. $70 billion for those of you who by chance may not be actually looking at their screen while they're listening to this. $70 billion in unclaimed property. A significant portion, I'm sure, is in banking relationships because I see it every day. Now, they don't keep data on specifically banking relationships or bank accounts that are abandoned or dormant, but $70 billion, what seems to be on an annual basis for unclaimed property, even if half of that is bank accounts, that's a lot of money. Now, let's get into some context, as I stated. What are the banking policies around these types of setups? You need to understand when you open a deposit relationship with a bank, if you don't put any special parameters on ownership or access, the bank is not obligated to do anything special if you don't or you're not able to attend to your money. If you're not able to attend to your money, and you either die, something bad happens to you, you're disabled for a long period of time, you're mentally incapacitated, whatever. And I'm going to knock on a little bit of wood on this table. Hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody catching this video. But the reality of it is it does happen to us. If that happens, the bank has no obligation via policy or any law or regulation to do anything special with your money. They're not obligated to reach out and contact anybody. They're not obligated to do anything special with your money, so it's growing more. They don't have any obligation outside of keeping the principle of that money safe. Banks have an opportunity to now start making money on that money, even if you're not able to do anything about it. And I'm not saying that banks shouldn't make money or make a profit, but it's different when you're incapacitated and can't move your money around in any way, any form or fashion to make sure you and your family are benefiting. That's a different story. So policy-wise, banks have nothing if you don't put something in place. What does that look like to put something in place? A couple quick examples, and we'll get into this a little bit further towards the end of the video, so just stick around to the end. But some quick examples are joint owner, beneficiary if that financial institution allows you to based on state law, etc. POA, power of attorney. These are some quick examples of things you can do with your immediate deposit accounts, checking, savings, and CDs to make sure that if something happens to you, that somebody else that you trust can access the money and manage things for you, or make sure that your loved ones get what they need, or that your affairs are taken care of. Now, let's get into the banking profit mechanism out of this. How do banks start to win out of this? It's pretty simple. Banks make money a couple different ways. They make money on fees, and they make money on lending your money out to prospective borrowers. When you pass away, incapacitated, leave your accounts unattended to, sometimes just dormant, maybe you forgot about it. I literally had a client maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. Lady was originally from Iran, had been in the US for a long time, but her husband handled the majority of the affairs financially. They were well off. They had multiple different banking relationships. The one they had at the institution I worked for was around $400,000+. Because he ended up passing away, unfortunately, and she wasn't used to managing the affairs, I go to reach through my book and find her relationship and call in with her. The account had been dormant over 2 years. $400,000+ sitting completely dormant for over 2 years because her circumstances changed. The person who navigated all those things was no longer here abruptly, and she had no plan in place on how to navigate that money, what to do with it, or that it was even still there. This happens all the time. Banks now have the opportunity to charge account fees if that's applicable, or they have the opportunity to take, in this example, $400,000+ and lend out magnitudes of that, because banks have a large fractional reserve system, a large margin on what they can lend out versus what they have to have on deposits. Now, that's changed since COVID. They need next to nothing on deposit nowadays. But just sticking to that concept, that customer now has allowed the bank to make a ton of money without doing anything to make sure that they're benefiting in the process, because that money was sitting in like a really basic checking or savings account getting next to nothing on interest. So the bank's out here making tens of thousands of dollars a year or more for all we know. And that client is getting pennies on that $400,000+ because she was unaware it was there still, and unaware of what she should be doing to optimize that money and get a better rate or do something else productive with it. So this is why this is crucial for you to understand this information. And this is a very basic level, or at least simplistic error that many of us are making, but we are making it at scale. It is happening at scale. Now, the next layer of this is frozen accounts or dormant accounts are a burden on your family, because that's money that they either don't know is there or they can't tap because you didn't stabilize that relationship with a contingency plan. You don't have anybody join on there for a rights to survivorship potentially being in place. You don't have a beneficiary in place, or a possible power of attorney in place. You don't have any of these things or these different mechanisms in place to make sure that somebody can step in if something happens to you. They may not even know you bank there. They may not know what accounts you have there. And if they don't have the proper documentation, or the account isn't situated properly, the bank's not going to let them access anything. They're not going to tell them anything. We're not allowed to do that via your privacy rights. So this creates a burden for your family, because there may be things to cover. It could be your funeral expenses. It could be your bills if you're still alive and just incapacitated. Whatever the case may be, including the ability to support themselves if you were caring for others or responsible for others. Now they don't have the ability to access those funds. Again, even if they even know they're there. So this is essential for you to understand that you have to go into your banking relationships intentional on multiple layers. That's what these videos are for, to help you optimize your money and help you think about the future in this scenario. You know, that things might not be rosy at all times down the line in your life. You need to have your affairs in order. It's not an easy conversation. It's not an easy psychological process, thinking about your own disability or death. But at the end of the day, it's a possibility. So you need to plan for it and make sure that you minimize the stress and strain for yourself and your family. The next layer of this is the importance of legacy planning. Imagine that, properly planning for your exit. Because to my knowledge, we're all going to exit at some point in time. You need to have that in order. I cannot tell you how many client relationships I encounter where that's not situated, and it causes chaos for the family, strain for the family, and often conflict for the family. Again, nothing's in place. So now funeral arrangements may not be able to be covered. Bills may not be able to be covered. Heirs that were expecting funds or funds that they could have gotten, they may not even know about, can't be issued or distributed. It gets bad. All because when you set things up, you thought you were going to live forever and nothing bad was going to happen to you. It's not an easy conversation. It's not an easy preparation. And that's why the work needs to be done. Because if something happens to you and disabled, or you're incapacitated, or you're deceased, your money is still in limbo somewhere. And if you don't make preparations in advance, it may be too late. And now this money ends up in the hands of the state, which makes it even that much more complicated for your family to access. And in some extreme cases, money is completely gone because nobody claimed it, because they didn't know it was there. You see how bad this can get? So this is important as well. We need to talk about some alternatives to leaving really large chunks of money in the bank when we're talking about legacy planning. What that means is we need to start looking at other avenues, stuff like life insurance, trusts, other assigned contracts or accounts, putting the money somewhere that's already pre-planned or has an in-game destination if something happens to you. Those are just a few examples. Trust, life insurance. There's other accounts, or again, just optimizing your deposit accounts with the right titling. But you want to have a plan. You need to have a plan. So that means that you need to find places to park money or accumulate money or do your legacy planning. Even if you don't have a lot of money in the bank, you want to have other products in place that you hopefully been paying for or saving towards to make sure that the legacy planning component is in place for your family and your loved ones, if and when something happens to you. So that's almost the last thing I want to leave you with. The last thing I want to leave you with is get an expert. Your banker is a huge starting point because they're going to be the ones sitting across the table when you set your relationship up, telling you the policies, telling you the options to protect and plan for the unexpected. So start with your banker, work your way to an advisor or some kind of legacy planning specialist. Sometimes, depending on your state, in my state, notaries check that box. It could be different in your state, but find people who are good to connect with for legacy planning, because they're going to be the ones to help you iron out what to put in place for that given day when it comes. And this is essential because literally all your hard-earned money can get locked away in the banking system and eventually in the hands of the government where your family may not even know about it, or they can catch hell trying to get their hands on it. I see it every day. I promise you. Clients, family members scrambling because they're trying to get succession, estate documentation together. They're trying to prepare for all kind of costs. It just adds a whole nother layer of complexity that you can thwart by planning ahead and situating your deposit accounts, or just having the bulk of your money parked somewhere else with your family aware and with them having proper access to those funds. Comment down below and let me know if this turned a light bulb on for you. Are you now thinking about, damn, I have X amount of money in the bank and nobody's on these accounts or knows about these accounts? Or I have no estate or legacy planning in place at all. I have no life insurance. I have money in these deposit accounts and I have nobody situated to take it on. I don't have a will. Let me know down below if this turned any light bulbs for you, or if you're somebody who's already on top of it, let me know what you're doing to plan, to legacy plan, to plan for your family and plan for that particular day, if and when it comes or however it comes. What do you have in place as a fail-safe if you become disabled, incapacitated, or heavens forbid, deceased? And how do you plan on making sure your family benefits from it and not just the bank, with that money sitting unattended by your loved ones, by you or your loved ones, and the bank profiting over and over from potential fees and the earnings from the lending that they were able to do on your untouched deposits? So let me know, how do you plan to make sure that your family wins and not just a financial institution? Comment down below. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, support the video so the channel can continue to support you. I want you to get in the description section down below. Time with me on Instagram. I'm putting out content there and broadening out the scope so we can build our committee of pioneers there and continue to share tips, continue to share insights, and continue to stay inspired on our journey to increase our network so we can increase our quality of life. Other than that, I want each and every one of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.